When this technically starts going live. So this time I started to talk the moment I hit go
Or
live. So
okay.
we're gonna find out in rewatching this a little bit later, once it's archived, to see
Well,
the actual point when we should stop talking about things um, of a
well, but you'll never know
non live
exactly when that
nature.
moment was.
Well, I started talking the moment I hit go live. So we'll see. Hi everyone, we're on the internet.
Hi. Oh
Um,
dear.
I hope I'm not too loud. Um, in standard hobby and hang. Oh my goodness, I am too loud. Woo! That's gonna kill some people's ears. Stand
I'm
by.
sure the Russian bots will let us know.
The Russian bots. Let's not talk about Russia today.
Oh, fair.
um, okay, let's turn this game down in standard hobby and hang fashion. Um, Everything on my computer decided to update the moment I came out to the my hobby space. So that was fun. How you doing, Alex?
I'm doing good.
You doing
I've
good?
had a good couple weeks.
Nice. I'm happy to hear that. I have had
Yeah.
two. Oh shoot, I'm gonna have to restart the counter now.
Oh
Um,
no.
Hang on. Got to tab over to it. I'm doing this all on my own here. Uh, Event date and time now. Start event timer. I had to reset the Legion talk because, or the
Oh
Legion counter,
God.
because I'm going to finish up some of my Legion guys today, and then get to my Ardley Quins. Um,
Now, is this Legion counter just for hobby and hang, or is it for any
no,
time
no.
in 40K that you?
On the Killzone Discord, it's become a meme at this point that
Mhm.
I will usually academic Chris will notice it, but I'll also ping him whenever I bring up Legion, so he can post the GIF, reset the clock.
Mhm.
Um, but someone was asking, is like, is there a way that we can get a bot that we can just restart every time he mentions Legion? Um, and people were, I was saying, it's like, geez, I've become quite a meme in this space because it's not only that, it's also the green heart thing, which has transcended borders. I saw Lazarus from, he's
Mhm.
a Spanish player. He followed up a comment with the green heart. I've seen it on Reddit now. Just a random Reddit post on the Kill Team Discord. We'll have a green heart on it. Um, it's great. But now it's the talking about Legion thing, and a little bit of that is self fulfilling because I will bring up Legion a lot on the podcast I'm on with Chris and Sheldon. Um, and I got really into um, finishing
Legion?
up these models recently because really into Legion. Yeah, hey guys, I like that game system. You guys heard of Legion? I'm gonna have to reset the clock too many times. I'd gone 4 hours without bringing it up publicly, so I think that's my new record. But anyway, long story short, for the whole clock thing that I keep referring to, someone in the Killzone Discord, I forget who, there was a couple people mentioning it. They were asking for a bot that they could just restart every time I mention Legion,
Mhm.
um, and that there was a fun meme to have on the Discord. So that was entertaining to hear. But yeah, I got really keen on finishing up these models for Legion because I got an airbrush. And when I first started using the airbrush, I was setting up my little hood and all that stuff. I was like, oh, maybe I can do airbrush on stream. No, it's loud. It is so loud. Louder than I hope my voice is coming across now that I fixed my gain. But I got an airbrush, and the first thing I wanted to do was see what spraying ink through the airbrush would come across as on some Zenithal Imperial Special Forces, which are pretty much all black. So the big challenge is to make them not look just like a primed model. And you can get a lot of the way there by just using contrast paint, but I wanted to try other techniques there too. So, yeah, I
I
mean, so
commend I commend your what's the word I'm looking for? I commend your dedication to the hobby aspect of things. I cannot be bothered to expand my workshop to that many tools.
well, um, interesting you say that because I've wanted an airbrush for a long time, but the big hurdle for me was the. Oh, I'm gonna interrupt myself, Ben. Oh my goodness! Not kills. Not Night's Cast Ben, but Ben who left us and gave us a lot of little minis. I'm not gonna say too many personal things because we're on the internets. Um,
Oh shit.
Ben's in the chat.
Way.
Yeah, I guess I
His
can call him AdMech Ben. That's the best way to distinct him from
yeah.
distinguish him.
His
He was a
his
close
donation.
friend. He was a close friend of the duo here. He was a fellow Dark Side Games kill teamer back in the heyday, in the before four times. And you were saying something, Alex?
I was gonna say his those donations fueled the initial rise of the Dynamech.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
It's your fault, Ben. Dynamic. Um, so let me see what he said. Yes, AdMech Ben. That's the best way to distinguish him. Sup, guys? I'm going to bed soon for early training. I just wanted to wish you happy. Oh, love you too, you get. Oh, that was a nice surprise. We can close the show now, and I'm happy.
Hooray.
Um, hooray! And the lights go out. Um, so to finish my thought that I was saying before, um, as I just noticed that I've been painting off screen this whole time. The um, I wanted an airbrush for a while. It's great for terrain. It's great for vehicles, especially the way I like to do it, where I like to glaze over metallics.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and you can do that with a brush. It's not saying that you can't, but it's
That's
so
what I
much
do.
easier with it's so much easier with an airbrush. So what you say is like my dedication to the hobby side of things, and you have no. Well, here's the thing: like it's really to speed up things, but then also to introduce new techniques in an easier way, like blending and fades and stuff like that, that take less time just to do a normal base coat. So
Mm-hmm.
to give it perspective, like it's hard to tell on stream, but these look incredible. These models that I'm holding right now,
Mm-hmm.
to the point that I'm a little embarrassed to put them with the rest of my Empire army because of how much they're going to stand out compared to the rest of them. But they look absolutely incredible. And I did a zenithal, but not like a rattle can zenithal. I did it with white ink, as you're supposed to, with some sort of white paint through an airbrush, which gave it a much smoother zenithal.
Mm-hmm.
And then I sprayed the whole model with black ink, which you could do with acrylic paints. But the nice thing about black ink is that it's just so thin. It gives it such a nice sheen and shine. Because also, sorry, before I did that, I zenithalled, and then I used metallic on the weapon and the helmet, and then I
Mm-hmm.
black inked everything, and it looks nearly like movie accurate how this stuff looks like with like the shininess that you would expect from
That's
Star
awesome.
Wars, you know? And then for like the boots and trim and stuff like that, I went over with just a basic acrylic paint to give it like more of a matte finish on the stuff that should be matte and not shiny. And a unit of 10 took me from setup of my hood to the airbrush to cleanup 45 minutes yesterday, and about less than 10 minutes per model of brush time today. And now I'm just doing some washes on the base before I finish off the bases. But the models are done.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And I've been using a battery powered compressor for it. I can't take credit for this. Anyone who's interested or who watches hobby videos on YouTube might have come across a guy. He's a buddy of Miniac. That's how I found him. He does a Trapped Under Plastic podcast with him, and he's got his own YouTube channel called Ninjon. That's the name he goes by on the internets. And he had a video this week, or not this week. Clearly not. It's Monday. Um, Last week I saw it, so I don't know when the video came out, but I subbed to him, so probably it was soon after the video came out that I saw it. Um, Talking about a battery powered compressor, and it puts out about 30 psi, which, doing basic research, that's a good general purpose psi to
Hmm.
be at for a lot of airbrushing stuff, especially the simple stuff that I would use it for. Lasts for about an hour and a half, charges within about 40 minutes. For the stuff that I would be using an airbrush for, I doubt I would ever airbrush for more than an hour. And it cost $70. Came with an airbrush, which you want to learn on a cheap throwaway airbrush. You don't want an expensive $200 airbrush to start airbrushing with anyway. Um, and he said it works remarkably well. And what I've been avoiding this whole time um, is the compressor.
Yeah,
Getting a big
that's
compressor, big
a lot
noisy
of hardware.
thing. It gets super hot. You can't put it on carpet. You really need its own space, like all this stuff. And then having a regulator, changing PSIs, all that kind of stuff. I didn't want to. I wasn't about that life, right? But
Hmm.
but seeing this, I was like, okay, well, it was like 70 or $80 on Amazon. It's like, okay, I can try that. I can try that. Came with a hose, came with all that kind of stuff. I bought a quick release for it to make it easy. And I also bought a hood because I don't want stuff in
Yeah,
my
you need a
lungs.
hood.
That was like another 100-ish bucks. Super easy. Super great. Next time you're over, Alex, I'll give you a
Mhm.
whirl and let you play around with it. Um, but yeah, I'm a convert. I'm a huge fan. Uh,
Honestly, the vehicle stuff is probably the most useful sounding for me,
mm-hmm,
at least.
mm-hmm. But then also just base coating too. Like you do a lot of base coating that is metallics, right?
Yeah.
So airbrush with the metallics, and then brush on the trench coat. You could do a ton of infantry that way.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm just I'm just a huge fan. I'm going to be singing the praises of airbrushing for the next few weeks. I probably
I mean, if you're as big a fan of airbrushing as you are Legion, you're never going to shut up about it.
restart the clock. Does it count if someone else says it? But yes, I am a big fan of
I mean,
Legion. So
at this point, I'm intentionally trying to goad you into it, so
nice.
I don't know that it counts.
That's funny. Um, yeah. We got Booted and Powered who joined us. He's saying I would get into that if they came out with new models. I'm assuming he's saying Legion
Probably.
because Kill Team's coming out with a ton of new models. They announced some new stuff today. Did you see that on Warcom?
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, the Chaos Space Marines. A lot of people were worried it was just going to be more cultists. It's the opposite of that, and I think, well, I mean, we don't know, but they
Yeah.
haven't mentioned cultists yet. So all we know is that there are Space Marines and a little Psyker guy in there too, which is neat.
This will be the
Um,
first truly elite White Dwarf or compendium team or non-compendium team, right?
yeah, yeah. So it'll be nice to see what's
Yeah, how they
yeah.
what they do.
Um, I got in a conversation with Chris on I think it was on the Killzone Discord. Met Chris over at LVO. He uh, he uh, he and I were talking about like a weight mechanic and how it would be nice if there was some sort of weight mechanic in the game. We were kind of going back and
Hmm.
forth on the idea of like, would it be for everyone or would it be um, for just elite factions? And he brought up a good point of something like a weight mechanic being a bad idea for everyone because then you're just gonna have pathies wait, and they all
Yeah.
still get another move afterwards. So it just kind of You try and solve the problem. The problem doesn't go away because everyone can just wait.
Hmm.
And idea that I brought up was maybe just limiting it if you have less than 8 models, specifically to shy away from.
I
Um,
appreciate the thought you're going for here, but to me, it just sounds like rules bloat.
I mean, GW. It's kind of their thing, right?
Yeah, it's
But
the solving problems is great and definitely needs to be tackled.
mm-hmm,
But if you're solving problems by adding like three caveats, you're not really
mm-hmm.
solving the problem per se. At least from the engineer brain, you're not actually helping.
Well, I mean, the there was I think it was Strom who brought up in the Discord that you would have to break the game to make them work because the game
Yeah.
is so focused on activations. Unless you
Hmm.
find a way to do an elite team with 10 models, but then it would be just like, okay, the Astartes team is just going to be scouts, right?
Yep.
Because that's the only way to get
That
10
much.
models, right? Unless you do some sort of mechanic where like it's baked into the faction's rules, like setting a position or something like that. Like
Well, it
you can have, you can spend one APL to set up a shot, and then that's your weight mechanic, and only certain operatives
yeah.
can do it to kind of maybe your heavy gunner and your gunner can do set up a shot, and maybe one of your maybe one of your melee guys can then um, uh, set up a charge or something like that. So it's not like a general weight mechanic, but it's a select few models can push you to 8 to 9 activations if you still have those models. So that way you're not at 6, assuming that they go up to 6. This is what everyone wants them to do. So it's just that's the first solution, at least in my brain.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't know. I don't know.
I
All I know is I'm eager to see what they do with Chaos Space Marines.
yeah, definitely. I would love to see them do something like old. It's not even that old, but the apocalypse, where like you could like the round you go down, you still get to do something. So everyone gets like some inbuilt version of only in death does duty end, and that could be something that's scaled off of APL to benefit um,
Well,
the
the
elite team.
the one downside to that is Harleys. They're
Hmm.
they're not elite, except they are.
Yeah.
So I mean, we'll see what the bespoke team is if they get something, because there's a lot of rumors out there that they're going to get Shadow Seer and Death Jester right now because there was this image that was leaked with Novies, and I think it was Novitiates, but it was one of the kill team bespokes with
Hmm. It was novitiates or sisters at least.
yeah, I think it was Novitiates because it was specifically like a bespoke kill team with 7 models, and there was a Shadow Seer and there was a Death Jester. So then it's like, okay, well, is it going to be? Are they going to be worth? Is like something like a Shadow Seer going to be like a leader, and then you
Hmm.
get 6 more, or is it a leader and you get 7 more, and like Death Jester costs 2 because he's a special character. Who knows? Who knows? But if they're at 7 or 8 models and there's still 3 APL, then something that scales off the APL is going to get really scary with Harleys. If it's something that's supposed to fix Marines, because then Harleys will benefit. It's like that butterfly effect. Anytime you make a change, you got to look at everything else. So it's tough. It's tough. It's just kind of baked into the game
Yep.
that activations matter as much. And unless they were planning for this, they're gonna have to think of a creative solution to make their poster childs relevant. But
Or they keep them irrelevant so people have to buy more teams.
uh, yes, we'll
There's
see.
my conspiracy theory.
Your tinfoil,
Yeah.
tinfoil hat.
Buy the Marines get into the game, you're like, oh crap. Then you got to buy something else. Um, where is my glue?
Speaking of Harleys, I'm painting my Ardley Quins.
Oh, you're back to them again?
Yeah, I um, I got really hyped by the leaked page of the announcement
Mhm.
that they're the next bespoke team, and I had primed them to repaint them for Kill Team Open After Dark, and I realized that I'm just not gonna fluorescent paint. No, I'm not about that. Um, I unfortunately have.
You're too much of a paint snob. You can't work with
Well, I bought
such a
expensive
terrible
versions of it.
medium.
I bought like the high end fluorescent paint, but it's not meant to be used as a base coat. It's like meant to be used. Yeah. So
Hmm.
it was just taking forever, and I just said forget it. So I already have them ready to get painted, and I do enjoy them. They're real fun to play. I mean, they're real good. That's why. But I just don't like the fact that they were playable, and then I primed them, and now they're not playable in my eyes because I don't
Hmm.
play with unpainted models. That's not a snob thing. That's a personal rule. Because if I don't have that rule for myself, it's I'll play with unpainted models and I won't paint them. So it's more of a rule for myself to prevent myself from getting lazy with the hobby, as I have sometimes done. Um, yeah, so I'd already
What you did was got me to play with your unpainted models.
yes,
So you weren't technically breaking the rules.
hashtag loophole. Yeah, I got you to play my pathies against me so I could play against some pathies before LVO. But
Did you actually face them?
I did. I did, and our prep games were helpful.
Good.
Yeah. Seeing them for the first time in a tournament's never a good way to face something.
No, not at all.
Oh, I don't know how long ago I've been focusing on these highlights. I don't know how long ago Boot Empowered said, but he wouldn't buy a kill team box of cultists unless they were new models. And I think that's what a lot of people's concerns were. Like I saw people floating around the idea of like, oh my goodness, what if they just rebox the cultists from Blackstone Fortress in a kill team, and a lot
Hmm.
of doom and gloom kind of predictions like that. And needless to say, unless they include that sprue inside alongside the chaos team that they just leaked today, not leaked, they're responsible for it, so they can't leak it.
Previewed, yeah.
But previewed today. Um, unless they do that, I think people are going to be pretty happy with that box anyway. Even if they do just rebox a bunch of cultists and say, yeah, you can also take cultists with them, and do a Zangor kind of conversion between rubrics. Um,
You know what's actually really funny from the world of Big Hammer
mm,
with respect to Kill Team?
what?
One of the big hotnesses right now is they're called Voidsmen at Arms. It's the Star Striders. Like you can bring them as a like 4 or 5 man unit,
Oh yeah.
but you can like soup them into anything, and they're super popular right now.
Oh, is that right? I
Yeah, so
know.
now like
I know
if you
that would
try to
make
find
Last
Star
Star
Striders on the
Strider
internet,
really happy.
yeah, if you try to like find Star Striders on eBay or something right now, they're
They're just gone.
super expensive.
I mean, I have a set just sitting right here.
Yeah. Well, you have part of a set because I think I have part of it.
You do? I
I'm
think. I think I. I might.
someone.
No. Here's what happened. Luke gave me Star Striders because he had no plan on painting them.
Oh,
Friend
is
of
that
the
what it
channel,
was?
Luke. And you ended up with them because I got the Rogue Trader box
Hmm.
as a reward for something. And oh, that's what I got for winning SoCal 2019. And I said, Alex, you need more kill teams. And you said, okay. And I gave it to you.
Yeah. Well, no, yeah. So I have that, but then at some point, somehow I ended up with another, not any of the specialists, but I've got like four more of the like just all the little basic dudes.
Oh, you know what I probably did? You're right. I probably gave you my Voidsman, so you can make it for the last edition where Kill Team Streams packet allowed you to take more
Oh
Voidsmen
yeah,
to get
that's
up
what
to
it was. Yeah.
125.
Hmm.
So I probably gave you my
Yep.
Voidsman specifically for that. You are right. So
Because the
t-
rest of them are all painted up, but not those five. I think it's five,
mhm.
maybe only four.
I think it's 4 extra Voidsmen that you would get in the packet,
Yeah, because they were 6 points each, right?
something like that. What are points anyway? Should probably not be painting on top of my beautifully painted inf- Imperial Special Troopers. So restart the clock. The cool thing about them that I'm so excited to use is that they essentially have the same kind of dice fixing like faith points
Hmm.
with their shots, and that's why I'm so excited to play with them. Actually, I'm gonna try and set up a game of Legion um, in the next coming weeks, just to take them for a run.
Excellent.
Yeah.
You're through the LA group.
No, probably with Jonathan. I haven't
Oh,
messaged him
cool.
yet, so if he's tuning in, consider this a request to see if you want to play Legion with me in the next week or so. I'm just all Star Wars hyped up. I had my niece over for the weekend, and anything her uncle does apparently is gilded in gold, and that also includes my love for Star Wars. So she's obsessed with Star Wars too, and I have a bunch of like Star Wars minifigs, and then we had Legos for her, so she decided to set up um, a movie. She made her own movie, Star Wars movie that had Darth Vader and his accomplice Darth Lady Bug, which is a Ladybug minifigure she has, who were trying to fight the entire crew from the original trilogy for a beach
You
house
know,
that she built. And
you
it
you
was,
told me a little bit about this before,
I sent you
and
the
I was,
videos.
yeah,
Yeah.
I haven't watched them yet,
Oh, you need to
but
watch them.
I know,
They're so
but
good.
I was like my number one question was whether Darth Ladybug was just a name or an actual ladybug, and it makes me very happy that Darth Ladybug is in fact a ladybug.
No, it's a Lego person in a ladybug costume.
Even better.
You're okay with this?
I'm very okay with this.
Beautiful.
I
So
mean, if I had an issue with it, I imagine Darth Ladybug would straighten me out.
she's dead. Leia killed her.
What?
Yeah.
Spoilers?
Oh shit. I'm sorry. That's just like Darth
You
Vader is
monster.
Darth Vader is Luke's father spoiler level right there.
Mhm.
Yeah, but the thing is, okay, another spoiler for you. Apparently, Darth Ladybug has the ability to resurrect herself as many times as she wants, 200s of times. I quote. So it's not a problem. She'll be back.
Excellent. She should write for Marvel. That sounds about right.
oh, that's funny. Um, okay. I'm gonna call that skin done enough. Needs a wash and another highlight. Oh, and that's another thing I want to try with the airbrush. Doing orc skin.
Yeah, that I'm genuinely curious to see how you feel about it.
Yeah, because the orc skin's messy. I always just slop on a bunch of green and so many layers initially.
Hmm.
Um, but what I really want to do is try out orc skin the the glazing that I do to give it the kind of dark base that I build up from.
Mm-hmm.
Because my whole trick is I use a very opaque green called oh, it's right here, light green by Vallejo, and I use that green to it goes on in two coats, which is fantastic for a green, and it's like a very pale green, like almost like white green. And I think probably that's what gives it its opacity, whatever is mixed into it to give it its
Mm-hmm.
pale color. And then I do a single coat of orc flesh over it, only because that's the dark green I had that would go on easily. And that gives me some high tones and some low tones in the green. And then I highlight up from that, and then I wash, and then I highlight up again, right? But I always
Mm-hmm.
dislike the contrast part. It's just sloppy. It takes a while to get it on evenly and not missing any spots. And if I could, and I've watched some videos and people do shoot it through an airbrush, and it works well. The only downside is you don't get the pooling effect like you normally would, but I'm not going for that. I'm just going for the tone, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it should be okay actually to do that, and it'll go on a lot faster and dries a lot faster too because it's not going on as sloppy. And the airbrush actually gives a little bit of a drying effect just because it's blowing air at it while you're painting. I noticed that, and that was actually kind of nice bonus I
That's
wasn't
cool.
expecting. Yeah,
Makes a lot of sense though.
yeah, right. I don't know if that's just because of poor technique or if that's a hidden gem of airbrushing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if it was poor technique, I'm gonna keep doing it.
The only poor technique if it doesn't work.
That's right. Um, yeah, next time you come by, you should bring your color shift and your
Yeah, we'll
rubrics.
play with that.
And I'll just let you go ham with it, like because it's just base coating, so it doesn't really matter accuracy, and you could just try your hand at it, see how you like it. I think I am gonna invest in a better airbrush because the thing about cheap airbrushes is that the so what if you break it, right? But
Mm-hmm.
what you gain from an expensive airbrush is control. Like it's a dual action airbrush, the cheap one. So what that means is you get the control of the how much air is coming through, which honestly, even on expensive airbrushes, um, you're not gonna have that much control over how much air is coming through. It's kind of like air on or off. But what you do have control over is as you slide back the plunger, what you depress it and then you slide it back. That's the dual action, and the slide back is what gives the amount of paint that's coming
Mm-hmm.
through. And on a higher quality airbrush, that slide back is a little bit more predictable. Whereas on a cheaper one, it's just like kind of jumpy.
Gotcha.
It's like all the paint or no paint kind of thing. And this one's not that bad, but definitely not as smooth as I would like. But so I might invest in
Do you think that just with more like practice on this one, you'd get smoother at it?
maybe. But this is a nice kind of just general purpose. Like here, I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
sling some paint at this kind of thing, and I'm gonna get more practice before I um, do get a new brush. But I don't think I'm gonna wait too long to get a new brush because I definitely
Yeah.
it all of this stuff that I bought works, and that was the one thing I needed to verify before I get more invested is that I did not buy garbage. Um, but yeah, the next thing we're gonna do is because fans of Hobby and Hang who are following the Hobby and Hang universe will notice that this is not Octarius terrain when I promised I was going to finish Octarius terrain. And I have not showcased any Octarius terrain because I have not finished my Octarius terrain. I'm going to airbrush the rest of it. That's going to be my big practice, I think. Getting used to it, getting used to the rhythm
That'll be
and
cool.
all that kind of stuff. So the panels are going to get airbrushed. I think that'll work really well. Um,
It'll be very interesting to see how close you can actually stick to the panel outlines.
yes, and that was the other thing because it'll help me out with accuracy. And the thing about the Octaris terrain is I don't need to worry about accuracy in the end, but I'm going to practice it because any
Mhm.
areas that I overbrush, that's just going to turn into rust and filth, you know?
Yep.
So it's very forgiving terrain to start that on. And then if that works out well, and then oh my goodness, if you get an air compressor like this too, we can finally chunk through all of that rampart terrain
Oh
and airbrush
God.
our way through it. Yeah, because that's great terrain. We just never
I was
finished it.
I was actually looking at it. We're actually like the half of it we were working on. We're really not that far from completing it.
Oh, I know, but we just got distracted
Yeah.
by painting things we can play with since we had
Mhm.
enough things that we can play on, you know?
Yeah.
Especially with like the ITC terrain that didn't need any painting, just needed gluing.
Mm. Yep. That's why Dakota stuff is the best.
Definitely on the pricey side, but in my opinion, worth it. It's making some Eldar themed stuff now too. Surprised it took them that
Hmm.
long.
It's a more complex shapes.
I guess
Um,
better to cut your chops and get the process
yeah.
right with
Well,
simple stuff first.
so, yeah. So not technically not Necron themed stuff is pretty convenient because that's a lot of straight lines and
Yeah.
sh shapes that lend themselves to
Mm-hmm. Oh, you're right.
um, lasering.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. But the what he's doing for the um and anyone listening, if you're curious at looking into what we're talking about, he's got an Etsy called Luster's Workshop. But what he's doing right now, he's been sharing some sneak peeks with me with the Eldar stuff. He's gonna make. He's got some good ideas to make it not too busy, because that was one of the biggest feedbacks he got from the Necron terrain is that it was a little too busy. It's absolutely gorgeous as an art board, but
Mm.
as a practical board, definitely a little bit on the busy side. Doesn't bother me, but some people did bring up comments about it, and they're
Hmm.
valid. They're valid. It's a very active board.
Yes.
um, so he's got some cool ideas of how he's gonna, because Eldar is also equally complex, if not more so, as you were mentioning. You know, so
Hmm.
he's got some solutions to make it look nice and not look like he's trying to take away from it um, aesthetically while also simplifying it. So I'm excited to see what he gets together. He's also the guy that does all the gauges that Alex and I use at tournaments. So if you've seen the stuff that we use and you like it, that's the place to go. He doesn't pay me to say any of this stuff. I just like his stuff. If anyone's wondering, he
He
pays
does pay
Alex
us
though.
not. I was going to say he pays us not to criticize him.
No, I'll call him out on it if I don't think he's making something
Yeah.
that's that's
No,
worth the time or the squeeze.
I'm excited to at some point meet up with him and see the board that I was working on with
Mm-hmm.
him.
Well, he's got an LGS up there where he lives, which is far-ish from me, and that also translates to far-ish for you too.
I mean,
Um,
more than ish.
yeah, yeah. Well, staying purposefully vague.
Yeah.
But the he does have an LGS up there that he has wanted to have people to, you know. Not he doesn't
Hmm.
have it, but it's his LGS that he frequents. His FLGS, should call it. So maybe, just maybe, that could be a way that we can bundle the
Yeah.
trip. Either that or just have another fun rump for our gaming club in the local area, and he can come down and bring it.
Mhm.
I didn't even ask you what you're working on today, bud. I just started talking about Legion from the get go.
Well, you have to ask now because up until about 3 minutes ago, the answer was Electro Priests,
And you're back to
but now
Spitari.
but now it's Ranger backpacks.
Oh no, we've come full circle. That's real funny.
So the list that I was frantically finishing for LVO, it wasn't that frantic, but finishing for LVO had I'd ended up having a total of 20 Ranger bodies painted, and I had their backpacks separate.
Mm-hmm.
And so I painted 15 Ranger backpacks and glued them on, and hadn't bothered with the other five, but now I'm polishing them off.
There you go.
And then once I get these Electro Priests, I finished their sub-assemblies and glued them on just a minute ago.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just need to get washed, and then they will be ready to be based in the lin.
Nice.
And then I'll have 20 Fulgurites.
Stabby?
20.
Stabby. I meant.
Stabby, yes.
Okay.
I may have
That's
a
that's going in a boat, I'm presuming, and getting yeeted at your opponent.
no, it cannot go in a boat. It's too big to go in a boat.
I mean,
Boat
these are not things that I know.
boats can only hold at most 12 people.
You don't have like a
Oh.
mecha boat, deaf
I,
deaf boat.
I wish I had a deaf boat. I've got a deaf drill, but that's still only 12 people.
Oh, that's your little sandworm thing that you
Yeah.
were kind of musing and
Hmm.
thinking of making.
Yep. I mean, all the
Jerry,
pieces are there.
yeah, because you were designing that, and you were
Hmm.
gonna chop it up into small bits so that way you can put it through your printer, right?
Hmm. And I did. It's all
Oh, so you
sitting.
you have the pieces then.
Yeah, here, look at the camera for a sec.
Yeah.
Got that.
Okay.
Has got three of these.
All right.
And then it's got a mouth plate. And then I have inner jaws.
Uh-huh.
And then I have a whole bunch of LEDs because I'm going to figure out how to set them all up so it looks like the mouth is glowing.
Okay. All right. Question.
Uh-huh.
Will you have someone in a silk suit riding it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, hell yes. Okay. I'm on board.
Here, wait. I don't know if you can. But can you see the? Let me rotate. Can you see the little hatch on top?
Hang on. You got me right as I got. Yeah. Oh, is there
Yeah.
someone going to be standing on that?
Yeah. So someone's going to be standing like right behind that, as if
Uh,
they had popped out of it.
okay. All right. I'm on board.
Mm-hmm.
When's the next Dune come out?
I have no idea.
Now, please.
Yeah, I wish. I saw a funny video on Reddit
Mm-hmm.
this evening just before this.
Mm-hmm.
It was the the scene where he goes in to see the Reverend Mother
Mm-hmm.
with the box,
Yeah.
but they replaced Paul with Elmo.
Oh. Oh no. You need to link this to me.
Yeah, I'll find it after this and send it to you, but it is
Elmo not an animal. Elmo a human. Am I far off?
not too far off.
Brilliant. Elmo is your spirit animal, so I appreciate that you found that.
Well, specifically,
Elmo's
Elmo on fire is
cherishing
my
fire.
favorite animal.
Yes.
In another Discord that you're not on, I've taken to like taking making bad puns,
Okay.
and then people will be like, "What? Oh God, that's awful!" And then I'll just respond with that GIF.
Do you have the one that just says chaos under it?
Yeah, that's usually the one I use.
Perfect. You are a man of culture after all.
Hmm. Very specific types of culture,
Yes. Meme culture.
specifically those involving Elmo.
Yes. I got very happy a couple weeks ago. I found someone that was selling this random Reaper paint that has been my favorite green that I've been using for my orcs. That I
Hmm.
cannot. I've bought one, two, three, four, five different shades of bright green. Whether it's Vallejo, AK Interactive, Game Color, Model Color Vallejo, like all these different types of green to try and match this random bright green called Naga Green that Reaper MSP makes because it's been my favorite
I
one
use
to.
that too.
What?
I use it too.
It's great! It's my favorite
Yeah.
green. It's such a bright, vivid green, and that's kind of like what I go for with my orcs is.
Mhm.
And yeah, I had to. I found someone that was actually selling it finally. I had like a ongoing search every week. I'd look for someone, and then all
Do
of a
they
sudden there was
discontinue it?
multiple. There were multiple sellers out of nowhere that finally
No.
were selling the exact Naga
Huh.
green. So I bought two.
It must have just gotten restocked.
I'm guessing. I'm guessing because even my FLGS owner couldn't get them in stock.
So weird.
Yeah, but now I have them. I was being very judicious with using it, and now I'm just like, yeah, slop that shit on. We good. We good
I was gonna
for
say
it.
I've had the same pot of Naga green for the past 2 years, but I also am not painting orcs.
Yes. Yes.
I use it as the green for like little screens and stuff.
Yeah, that's a good green for that.
I've also started getting adventurous recently and like drawing tiny little white lines onto them now.
You should get a micron pen. Just do it in black, but micron pen will make your life a lot easier doing that.
Hmm.
Again, I have one that you can test that out with if you would like to borrow it. I use it to dot eyes when I do humanoids.
Eyes? What are those?
Oh, that thing under your electropriest.
Hmm.
Oh, wait. Is not there
Actually,
anymore,
some
is it?
some of the tech priests do have a human eye visible.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I could have sworn
Um,
they would all have them replaced at this point.
yeah, I would have too.
You would have replaced your eye too?
No, I would have expected them to.
I
I mean, let's be honest, if I could, I would.
know. The flesh is weak.
I can have my shitty eyes that need vision correction, or I can have a robotic one that can see like beyond the visible spectrum. I know what I'm picking.
Shitty eyes, right? Because the glasses are cool.
I mean, I can put glasses on over my robot eye for when I'm feeling hipstery.
I was about to say that's quite hipster of you, Robot Man.
I hung out in the hipster side of town occasionally in undergrad.
Were there hipsters when we were in undergrad?
Oh, definitely.
I don't
At least
remember.
when I was.
Yeah, there might
I guess
not have been. My undergrad might have coasted the wave pre-hipster. I don't know.
also like my college town was all about that sort of like underground music scene type vibe.
I mean, I was in Southern California. It's not like we didn't have that either.
Yeah, but also like the preppy crew is a lot bigger here than like middle of nowhere Georgia.
I cannot say whether I can confirm or deny that because I've never been in middle of nowhere, Georgia.
I mean, the closest thing we had to the preppy crew were the frat boys,
And they
and
were
that's an entirely different type of thing.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm, 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 mm-hmm.
You all right there?
Yeah, I'm just getting sick of green skin right now. I never thought I'd say it.
Oh no.
I don't batch paint. I never do. And I'm doing it now, and I'm not liking it. I was talking to my wife earlier, and I was just telling her that my favorite thing about the purchase of the airbrush and going down this route is being able to get a lot of these base coating steps done and over with. So I could do the part
Hmm.
that I really enjoy with painting, which is the detail work and the highlighting. But even though I'm technically highlighting green skin right now, it still feels like base coating. Just because of how many layers I build up of this really thin Naga green. Um, it's like base coating it 800 times. It looks good once it's done, but getting there is just like such a chore. Um, but then, once I do all the skin, then it's fun because I can start picking out the colors and the details, the
Yeah.
belts, the clasps, all that stuff. That's the part that I really, really enjoy. The one part that I want to get to, and I just want to get the skin done and over with on all of the models, so that way I can actually
Hmm.
get to that point. Because I know I'm not going to be happy if I have to keep coming back and doing this
Yeah,
all
painting
again.
the tech priests themselves were actually a lot of fun, like the HQs,
Mm-hmm.
commanders, or whatever you want to call them, because like they're super detailed, but also like very unique and different.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because Qatari are also like pretty freaking detailed, but they're all variations on a theme.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
frankly, I'm not going to take the time to pick out every single wire on them.
You're not?
Nope.
It's shocking.
Next time you're looking at one of my guys, like really look at one of the Skitarii.
So here's the thing. Um, that's the right way to paint. How you're doing that. Adam from Tabletop Miniatures, he had a video talking about you shouldn't be painting as much as you are, or something like that. Basically, it was focusing on the idea that you, like, if you look at what like people are in in military, like how they're dressed and stuff like that, like each piece
Hmm.
of cloth is in a different color. Everything is kind of like the same drab kind of color with very subtle variations between it. And like his advice is like just run with that. Like you don't need to paint every single buckle separate from XYZABC because it will look good if you don't.
Yeah.
Like it'll look crazy detailed and nice if you do it, but like at what point is it actually a value add? If it brings you enjoyment, then hell, just go for it, right?
Yeah,
But if
exactly.
but if your but if your goal is getting your squad done so you can play, but to a standard that you're happy with, he actually had a really good way to just kind of push yourself out of that I'm painting everything kind of bubble. It said paint everything like one color and then use contrast paints to give subtle hue differences between them. So paint everything like a mid-tone brown and then use wildwood and snakebite leather and all those kind of stuff to give everything a little bit of a shade so there's a little bit of separation, but because of how quickly that goes on, it's not going to be like you're picking out other details.
Hmm.
It's just going to be like giving shades, and you're going to notice that your models do look pretty damn good. Even though he's not wearing a blue shirt and black pants and brown
Yeah.
coat and orange, yeah. Well, those are just terrible color combinations, but you know what I mean. So you saying I don't pick out every wire, it's like that's. I mean, the Scutari aren't sitting there. It's like, oh no, we can't put a red wire next to a blue wire. What would people say?
Yeah. And also just from, I mean, yeah, if you are painting like for yourself and, for display pieces, then yeah, you go nuts. But, kill team, you can go a little more in depth because you've got each of these guys running around and you've only got 10 or so on a table. But like, especially once you start getting to the bigger war games, I mean, it's very possible to have 20 of these things in a unit. And I'm certainly like, even if I'm really studying the table, I'm not seeing the individual wires on the individual models in that group of 20 guys. Like that's just, I mean, that maybe that's just the way I perceive it, but that's not
Mm-hmm.
what I'm seeing.
Sure. I think that's all fair though. I think it's a good perspective to have, especially when there's the wants to be done to play the game and to have nice looking miniatures. Like nice is relative, you know? And it just depends on what you're going for, you know? If you want them to look
Hmm.
nice, doesn't mean that they have to be excruciatingly detailed too. I say that as I spend an entire hour highlighting skin on orcs who may see 3 games in their lifetime, but hey, we'll see.
Does it make you happy?
I don't know yet. I think so.
Okay. Well, if we think so, then that's good enough.
Yeah, yeah. The happy part will come in if the rules come out that I actually want to play these guys because I'm putting all this effort in blind, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hence the I don't know. Rules come out and it turns out that you only need like 3 players and yada yada yada. They're changing everything. It's like, well, okay. One might say it's like, oh well, at least you have options. So it's like, no, they all have caresses.
So at the Big Hammer tournament Saturday, I played against a Harlequins player,
Mm-hmm.
and he apologized at the beginning of the game. He's like, most everything's WYSIWYG, but a couple things aren't. And he started to point them out, and I just stopped him and was like, dude, I will never be able to tell the difference. Like, you just tell me what they are, and I will believe you.
Yeah, and that's the funny thing about it. Like I was having a conversation with some folks, and we were talking about conversions and WYSIWYG, and my whole thing is I end up being overly WYSIWYG. You know this, you know,
Hmm.
to the point that like I'll put it under the light. This guy right here, he is he's got a power weapon, and it's pretty clear because his arm's a robot. Uh, um, otherwise, you're just kind of seeing a sword with a faint blue hue, you know?
Hmm.
And everyone else has caresses. Well, yeah, because they just have hands that are reaching out to touch you. That's what their caresses are.
You mean caress you?
Yep, that's the joke.
Hurt, 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 hurt.
Well, painting orc skin apparently got me my goal achieved for my calories burned today on my Apple Watch. It always shows up at random times. Like I was eating a slice of pizza a couple weeks ago, and it said goal achieved. You did it. Calories burned. It's like, oh, don't worry about it. I'm working on the other end of that.
That feels almost like passive aggressive snide.
Yeah, it's like it knows. It knows what I ordered. And it's like,
Hmm.
whoa, at least you burned some calories today, piggy. Siri would. I wouldn't put it past Siri. She would.
I see you're eating some pizza. Would you like to feel bad about yourself?
Sure. Let's do it, Siri. Bring it. You can't hurt me. You're not real. Oh no, she hurt me.
Yeah, yeah, she's real enough for that.
Would you like to see an album from 4 years ago? No! I would not like to see my vacation album from 4 years ago. That's okay. I'll just leave it here in your notifications staring at you.
hmm
Oh, Siri. So I'm not the best at these highlights, but I'm definitely getting better. To the point that I probably should have gone for the chaff ones first and then painted the leader last. Because I
Yeah,
highlighted the
that
leader
actually,
first.
yeah, that definitely doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I did the leader first because I was excited because I used a commando arm and I shaved it down and green stuffed it to, and then tapered
New
it to
commandos or old commandos?
new to give him a weird looking shooter. So that
hmm
way, or Slega, so that way it would sell as different from the other ones. So it could be a fusion blaster, and what's it called? The and then I highlighted him first, and the highlights are definitely a lot better on this last one that I'm painting right now. I'm getting through all the skin today. I'm happy about
Nice.
that. I had 3 done already though, so I can't take all that credit for doing it today.
How long
Uh,
till you do the skin experiment on the airbrush?
it'll have to be with my next set. I'm probably going to do that for my novitiates, where I'm
hmm
using Cruel Boys because they're such a different orc. If their skin does come out different, it'll sell that they're a different orc a little bit better anyway. So
hmm
I'm okay with it not being the same recipe I use for
Yeah.
my other orcs because some people they like to have a mismatch of skin in their wa. I like it feels like that's their uniform, and then the
hmm
mismatch comes in the ramshackle
Right.
stuff they
Yeah.
have. That's my perspective on it. So I like their skin to be uniform, even though that's not really lore accurate. Like even the little guys have the same skin tone as the knobs.
I
Um,
mean, lore accurate is whatever you make it to be.
oh yeah, absolutely. Oh, have I told you what my lore is for my kill teams? I came up with this about a month
Like
ago, and
the
I don't think I've
over,
told
like
you.
between all of them?
Huh?
Between all of them?
Yeah. We'll we'll
No, I don't
we'll,
think
cl-
so.
we'll close with this story because we're
Okay.
just about done for today. Um, so War Boss Rock Stompa
hmm
um, wants
I
his
remember
Wa.
him.
Huh?
I remember him.
Yeah. He wants his Wa to be known for the best looting, right? Now,
hmm
now some Was have looted entire planets, sure, but he wants to not only loot weapons and armor, but also tactics. So each of these units that have gone out,
He's
they've
an orc of
looted,
culture.
huh?
He's an orc of culture.
His specific culture. So each of these little units have gone out and they've looted a different enemy of their war gear and their armor, but also their tactics. And they all think that they've done the best job. So um, in standard orc fashion, their infighting all comes about because they're all fighting with each other because they're trying to prove that they got the best loot.
Uh-huh.
So that's why all these different orc clans or all these different orc teams and why they're all fighting. I told someone about this on one of the discourse today, and I was thinking as I was telling, it's like I don't think I've ever told Alex this. I'll tell him tonight at Hobby and Hang, and I completely forgot up until now. But yeah, that's
I
my
like it.
that's my lore of
It's your
why the
story and you're
orcs.
sticking to it.
Yeah, that's why there's grots and Deathwatch armor, and there are orcs that are going to be dressing up like novitiates. Yeah, it's not just Halloween. All right. I think that's it for today.
Alrighty.
Bye
Well,
to people hanging out with us.
woo!
Alrighty.
All right. Till next time.
Adios. Hang on. Hang on. Where is it? Where is it? There it is. Bye.